Moving on to our top focus, our big debate this evening. We've seen a fair amount of criticism that has come at the back of the Mahakumbh. The opposition says, is it criminal to criticize mismanagement? But you have it very clearly. The UP Chief Minister as well as the Prime Minister today tore into the opposition, calling them anti-Hindu. Mahakumbh, Maha politics, Maha face-off. All culminating on the final holy dip of Mahashivratri. Prime Minister Modi charging at the opposition, calling opposition's Kumbh criticism anti-Hindu, alleging slavery mindset of opposition, insinuating a foreign hand in maligning the Mahakumbh.
मैं किसी की आस्था के ऊपर दोष नहीं लगाना चाहता हूं.
Opposition hit back, claiming calling out mismanagement is not anti-Sanatani. The Mahakumbh face-off, top focus on To The Point this evening. All right, so what exactly is it that the Prime Minister said? 2 days running, the Prime Minister has targeted the opposition, namely Congress, Samajwadi Party, TMC, Mamata Banerjee, even Lalu Yadav today in Bihar, calling them anti-Hindu and playing in the hands of foreign powers to discredit Indian faith. Listen in to the Prime Minister.
साथियों, आजकल हम देखते हैं कि नेताओं का एक वर्ग ऐसा है जो धर्म का मखौल उड़ाता है, उपहास उड़ाता है, लोगों को तोड़ने में जुटा है। और बहुत बार विदेशी ताकतें भी इन लोगों का साथ देकर देश और धर्म को कमजोर करने की कोशिश करती दिखती है। गुलामी की मानसिकता से घिरे हुए लोग हमारे मत, मान्यताओं और मंदिरों पर, हमारे संत, संस्कृति और सिद्धांतों पर हमला करते रहते हैं। जो धर्म, जो संस्कृति स्वभाव से ही प्रगतिशील है, उस पर ये कीचड़ उछालने की हिम्मत दिखाते हैं।
The opposition was quick to come back saying, we've called out the mismanagement at the Kumbh. How is this anti-Sanatani? Listen in to Pawan Khera.
सबसे ज्यादा हिंदू धर्म का नुकसान अगर कोई कर रहा है तो वो संघ कर रहा है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी कर रही है। ये स्वयंभू ठेकेदार बने हुए हैं मेरे धर्म के, ये हम बर्दाश्त नहीं करेंगे। धर्म से इनका कोई लेना देना नहीं, इनका धर्म से कोई लेना देना नहीं। धर्मों को आप शंकराचार्य जी पर छोड़ दीजिए, आप अपनी राजनीति करिए।
All right, so the big questions that we asked this evening is the opposition on anti-Kumbh hysteria to discredit the BJP government? Is the BJP using devotee belief to mask administrative failure? The other big questions that we are asking is raising Kumbh mismanagement anti-Hindu? Is Kumbh criticism constructive or cynical? All right, let's take these big questions to our panelists this evening. Joining me, Ranjit Sethi, political commentator, Ashutosh, author, political analyst, Dr. Pooja Tripathi, national spokesperson, Congress, Charu Pragya, national spokesperson, BJP. Let's begin with Charu Pragya, who's with us. Charu Pragya, concerted attack by the Prime Minister yesterday as well, and even today when he was in Bihar, calling the opposition anti-Hindu, playing in the hands of foreign powers to discredit faith. Charu Pragya, the big question here could also be, if you call out mismanagement, how does that make one anti-Hindu? All right, we don't have Charu Pragya with us. All right, let's cut across. We don't have Charu Pragya. Let's cut across to our Congress spokesperson, Dr. Pooja Tripathi, National Spokesperson Congress, who's joining us right now. Pooja Tripathi, repeatedly, you've had the Prime Minister who's called out the opposition, including your political outfit, for trying to, A, defame the Hindu faith, 2, having a slavery mindset, where you will go at any lengths to discredit the government just because it's holding a festival like the Kumbh.
Preeti, Kumbh, or for that matter, any religious congregation that that celebrates devotion, that celebrates religion, and celebrates this Astha ka Parv, what we say, Bharatiya Janata Party does not have a copyright to it. The irony is, Prime Minister Modi ji said the statement, sharing the state with Acharya Dhirendra Shastri, who went on to say that those who were killed in Stampede, those who were dead in Stampede, attained moksha and were not dead. So does Prime Minister confer to this absolutely ridiculous, insensitive statements by Acharya Dhirendra Shastri? The point here is, any question asked on mismanagement, any question asked on fixing accountability, any question asked why there is demarcation of VIP ghats and ghats for general public, any question asked on why there have been nefarious attempt to, give a cover up on the number of casualties, be it on the New Delhi Stampede, Railway Ministry goes on to say that's a Stampede-like situation, and on Moni Amavasya, anything is anti-Sanatan. Any question that you ask, any suggestion that you put across is anti-Sanatan, and this goes on to that it's just a political score point.
Pooja Tripathi, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break here, because we'll just play out at the back of which the Prime Minister and many BJP leaders have called out the opposition, suggesting that you can't discredit the Kumbh. Call out the mismanagement, but don't politicize what they're saying. And, we're going to cut across to Mamta Banerjee, who called the Mahakumbh Mrityu Kumbh, and which was seconded by Akhilesh Yadav. Listen in and the response of Yogi Adityanath at the back of it.
Mahakumbh আমি নাইবা বললাম, ওটা এখন মৃত্যু কুম্ভ হয়ে গেছে, মৃত্যু কূপের মতো। আমি মহাকুম্ভকে সম্মান করি, আমি শ্রদ্ধা জানাই, পবিত্র গঙ্গা মাকে আমি সম্মান করি, কিন্তু প্ল্যানিং না করে এত হাইপ তুলে এত লোকের মৃত্যু বললেন 30 জন, কথাটা কি সঠিক? কত ডেড বডি ভাসিয়ে দিয়েছেন নদীতে?
देखिए, ममता बनर्जी जी ने जो कहा है वेस्ट बंगाल की मुख्यमंत्री ने, ठीक ही कहा है। उनके लोगों की भी जान गई है, और एक बहुत बड़े अंग्रेजी प्रतिष्ठित अखबार ने भी ये बात कही थी कि बंगाल के लोग जिनकी जान गई उनका नाम सूची में नहीं है। तो बड़े संख्या में लोगों की जान गई है जो बंगाल या और प्रदेशों से आए थे। एफआईआर भी नहीं दर्ज हो रही है। लोगों के साथ खिलवाड़ हुई, उनकी भावना के साथ खिलवाड़ हुई, उनके इमोशन का फायदा भारतीय जनता पार्टी उठा रही है। जो ममता बनर्जी जी ने कहा वो ठीक कहा है कि लोगों की जान गई है, और जान इतनी गई है कि सरकार नहीं बता पा रही है।
गिद्धों को केवल घास मिली, सुअरों को गंदगी मिली, संवेदनशील लोगों को रिश्तों की खूबसूरत तस्वीर मिली, आस्थावानों को पुण्य मिला, भक्तों को भगवान मिले। मतलब सबने अपने स्वभाव और चरित्र के अनुसार चीजों को देखा।
So Ashutosh, at this point of time where you have the opposition suggesting that the government of the day is using faith to mask incompetence, the larger question is also constant criticism of the Mahakumbh, where, if you look at just in terms of numbers, one would suggest, or at least the government would like us to believe, that half of the Hindu population, believers, have already taken the dip. So when, the context of faith is so strong, to constantly go after the Mahakumbh, would you think is also somewhere down the line, will backfire politically on you?
So, Preeti, I think the government is in a mood to hide everything behind the religion. The fact of the matter is, what is the CP report says? Any government should have been ashamed of the report which Central Pollution Control Board has given. Are these pilgrims supposed to take a dip into such water? Just imagine, will you take a dip into such water? So who should be blamed for this? The government should be blamed or the opposition should be blamed? Are the people who are taking a dip in the Kumbh, they should be blamed? Who should be blamed? Whose responsibility was this to provide a clean Ganga water so that all those pilgrims who are coming should take at least a proper dip there? Somebody who's coming back from there after the dip, you can imagine the kind of trauma they must have gone all through. Secondly, whose responsibility was this to manage the traffic and the crowd over there? Is it the responsibility of Akhilesh Yadav or Mamata Banerjee or anybody else? So if anybody is asking a question, you immediately brand them as anti-Muslim, anti-Hindu or anti-Sanatani, anti-religion. Is it their copyright?
Okay.
Who has given them the copyright? Who has given them the contract that from today onwards, you will be the responsible for the Hindu religion? It's not about Hindu religion. It's about the gross mismanagement. Who is responsible for the deaths of the people who died at the New Delhi railway station?
All right.
Is it the government or the opposition? Should we blame Arvind Kejriwal for that? Should we blame Akhilesh Yadav? Should we blame Mamata Banerjee?
So you're suggesting that the government is trying to mask with faith where incompetence is concerned. But Charu Pragya, when I want to bring you into this conversation as well, we have Rajat Sethi as well. I just want to take our viewers on, a few incidents that have gone by and which the opposition is now quoting to suggest that there's incompetence, there's mismanagement, and by calling out mismanagement, how does it make them anti-Hindu? And Charu Pragya, January 29th, at least 30 people killed. The numbers are more right now near the Sangam area. There were a second stampede on the January 29th itself, where just 2 kilometers away from the first spot. February 15th, 18 people killed in a stampede at the New Delhi railway station. There have been multiple incidents of fire as well. But Charu Pragya, the bigger question now is to constantly label people who call out mismanagement as anti-Hindu. How does that work? Sometimes, criticism can be constructive as well.
Preeti, criticism is welcome. Criticism which is constructive is always welcome. But please tell me, how is calling the Kumbh Mrityu Kumbh constructive criticism? Who are you criticizing by calling it Mrityu Kumbh? Because the name calling is being done to the Kumbh, not to the government, not to a political party and not to a person. When Lalu Prasad Yadav says Kumbh faltu hai, is he criticizing the government or the management, or is he criticizing the Kumbh itself? When Akhilesh Yadav agrees with Mamata Banerjee's statement of Mrityu Kumbh, yet goes and takes a dip in the Kumbh himself and returns saying he experienced a surge of positive energy, please tell me what is politics and what is the truth. There is Mallikarjun Kharge, who's again calling bad names to the Kumbh, but DK Shivkumar, Digvijay Singh, Sachin Pilot, Ajay Rai, amongst others, are tall Congress leaders who go and take a dip in the same Kumbh. Now, understand one thing, pretending to be criticizing the Kumbh, while you are actually criticizing a religion itself is not going to get you anywhere. Please understand this. Please don't say you're talking about the management of things, because you've never mentioned management. Every single word is followed by the word Kumbh. Otherwise, wouldn't you have said Mrityu Sarkar hai? Faltu party hai? You have continued to say Mrityu Kumbh hai, Faltu Kumbh hai, so on and so forth, and that is not done. If you are talking about the unfortunate incidents of deaths that happened in the Kumbh, they are extremely regretted, and everybody with folded hands has prayed for the departed souls and made sure responsibility was fixed. But tell me, did this happen because the CCTVs were not working? Did this happen because the authorities didn't do their work? Or did this happen because an unprecedented amount of people were in one place at the same time?
Okay. But that's also mismanagement, that you couldn't anticipate the number of people. But you've got a point there. And I'll come back to you. Charu Pragya, I'll circle back to you. Ma'am, allow me to circle back to you. No, I'll hold that thought and use it in your next intervention. Use it in your next intervention. Rajat Sethi, I want to bring you in. Would you think that maybe the opposition is handing it on a platter to the Bharatiya Janata Party by constantly invoking Kumbh instead of criticizing the party or the government?
Frankly, that is their job. It's not like any of these opposition leaders are some paragons of governance and their governance models are being celebrated. They have faltered at their own in their own events in their respective states, Akhilesh Yadav included. Constructive criticism and suggestions and lending a helping hand that goes part of, how such social programs and socio-religious programs are to be done. I mean, you might belong to a different political camp. It doesn't mean that your cadres, party people can't come in and support. See, there has to be a different way of adding to the discourse where half the nation's feelings are associated with. You can't go out and simply shun it. And I repeat it, and I've said this several times before. Even in the previous Mahakumbh, Akhilesh Yadav, faced with incidents where deaths have happened, that did not stop. I was at Harvard, I was studying, and we compiled this massive document in form of a book to publicize Mahakumbh around the world. And we talked about all the good things that Akhilesh Yadav's government has been able to do. And the local administration, how did they even go about organizing such a massive scale event? Nowhere. I mean, it's incredible the amount of scale that this event has.
But Rajat Sethi, though,
there are
the deaths
all along, and those are also
the deaths the last time around were politicized. The BJP did go after the Samajwadi Party government.
I started off with that the opposition's job is to criticize. That's fine. But also, you don't have to perpetually go after the entire event itself. Mahakumbh has genuine feelings associated with large proportions of the Hindu followers in our country. If you want to do that, it will come at your political cost. Be prepared for that. If not, if you want to, swing by that, you have to ensure that you're also coming up with some level of constructive cooperation on the Mahakumbh. If you can't do that, rather be quiet.
All right. Dr. Pooja Tripathi, let me hark back to what happened this morning. You had the Prime Minister who's practically gone and sounded the poll bugle in Bihar, and he opens with how the leaders in Bihar, harking back to the era of Jungle Raj, or the alleged Jungle Raj, which he calls it, have disrespected Kumbh, disrespected Astha, which is faith. Therefore, politically, the BJP is going to use it, and they are using it as we speak.
BJP is definitely going to use it, because we are not raising questions on Kumbh. We are raising questions on when this culture of hiding the casualties, hiding the whole stampede that occurred at Jhusi occurred. The government that was going on to say sab kuch control mein hai, even the railway ministry, thanks to social media, thanks to the independent reporting, that the pictures and the videos and everything came out. And Yogi Adityanath today said about vultures and pigs. Would you go and said this to the victims of New Delhi Stampede, the 12-year-old Neeraj, the 10-year-old Pankaj, the 8-year-old Pooja, and a 6-year-old Riyad? You'll go to their parents and say that you're vultures and pigs? Anybody who raises questions at a government that updates number every hour, 5 crore ne snan kiya, 6 crore ne snan kiya, took 18 hours to just update, tell us that 30 was the number. And then everybody, the whole eyewitnesses and everybody says that this is not the number. If you are saying that we are anti-Sanatan, what will you say to Swami Avimukteswaranand Saraswati, the esteemed Shankaracharya, who has also raised questions on the management of Kumbh? What will you say to Acharya Mithilesh Nandini of the Pithadishwar from the Ayodhya, who said this whole propaganda of Kumbh occurring after every 144 years is just governments doing? Kumbh occurs after every 12 years. You'll go on and label them anti-Sanatan and anti-Hindu. This is a question of management. This is not just, unprecedented number. You said that you are prepared to handle 100 crore crowd, and then you go on this culture, this of, hiding accountability, this culture of hiding the numbers is a disservice to the people, disservice to the people who have an esteemed belief in the, this,
Ashutosh, I'm going to come to Ashutosh, but I want to allow me to just bring in the BJP spokesperson on this. Charu Pragya, the fact is, to use language of vultures will only see the dead bodies. But why the dead don't count, Charu Pragya? Don't they have an identity? Shouldn't they be respected? Shouldn't it be investigated on what really happened? And if there was mismanagement, shouldn't heads roll? And shouldn't the numbers, be more transparent on the numbers that we've lost during the Kumbh? We still don't know what is the actual toll when it comes down to the 2 stampedes that took place at the Kumbh.
Priti, let's remember that every word which is said on the floor of the assembly or the parliament is completely verified, right? So when Yogi ji speaks in assembly and shatters the propaganda which is being spread by the opposition, that is the absolute truth. Today, when we have lost precious lives, here is a government which feels responsible. Here is a government which is still juggling with a crowd of nearly 60 crore people. But if I can remind the opposition, which is still trying to pretend as if a stampede is unique because a Kumbh has happened, stampedes have happened the world over. In fact, the largest stampede in the history of mankind happens during Hajj. Can the opposition attack the Hajj or that
because the Hajj
religion in the
doesn't
same
take
way
place in India, Charu Pragya. The Hajj is not our responsibility. The Kumbh is our responsibility.
And that allows you to call it faltu, call it mrityu, say that there is no such thing as a Mahakumbh because you haven't had sufficient education about what Sanatan is. How can you say that right now? Even the Congress spokesperson is saying 144 years is nothing. It happens every 10. It doesn't happen every 10 years, by the way. It happens every 12 years, madam. The basics of religion you do not know. The basics of Sanatan you do not know. And you think you can preach to the people? 144 years is a Mahakumbh because 7 planets align after 144 years to make this time auspicious. That is why this is happening. And you make statements like that to mislead the people. And I'm sorry, whatever you are going to say right now does not take away from the fact that when Samajwadi Party had 224 seats in Uttar Pradesh and Kumbh was organized, who did you choose to put in charge of it? Azam Khan. You couldn't even find a Hindu leader to put in charge of it. Mismanagement. Then,
no, but Charu Pragya, that's one second. Charu Pragya. No. Okay, I understand what you're saying, but are you actually saying that if you don't find a Hindu leader to take charge of an event, then, I would think that's a bigoted way of looking at life. I'll come back to that. Hold your thought, ma'am. I want to bring in Ashutosh into this conversation.
No, it's
Ashutosh,
not.
The larger question is, Charu Pragya also has a point somewhere. You've handed it over. The opposition has handed it over to the BJP because your criticism could be constructive, but maybe you haven't got your language right. You're going after the Kumbh. And that's what the projection is. And the BJP will use it politically, which they already are. Sir, you're on mute.
See, Preeti, there is a much larger and the bigger question is here today. That who should be allowed to monopolize the religion? The upper caste. They should have a monopoly of religion. They should have a monopoly of a Sanatan Dharma. Who is criticizing it? Mallikarjun Kharge. Who is Mallikarjun Kharge? Is it Dalit? Akhilesh Yadav is an OBC. Lalu Yadav is an OBC. The OBCs and the Dalit have always been denied the access to Vedas. So their understanding of Hindu religion is entirely different from the understanding of these upper caste. So this monopolization of this hubristic understanding of religion has to be questioned. And anybody who belongs to Dalit community, who belongs to the OBC community, immediately is branded that he's anti-Sanatan, he's anti-Hindu, does not know what the Hinduism is all about. I'm really scared today. Because if Dayanand Saraswati has been today, if Baba Saheb Ambedkar has been today, he would have immediately been branded as anti-Hindu, anti-Sanatani. If anybody who dared to read Annihilation of Caste by Baba Saheb Ambedkar and the riddles in Hinduism and Dayanand Saraswati's Satyarth Prakash, they will be aghast that their understanding of Hinduism and the BJP's understanding of Hinduism and the understanding of Golwalkar and Hedgewar's understanding of religion
Ashutosh,
is entirely
allow me a
different.
counter because that's what maybe the politics is not getting, because if you actually look at it, it's a sea of humanity. All castes are actually taking, it's the biggest leveler where caste is concerned. You have all castes who are coming in to take a dip at the same time. One doesn't know who the other caste is, and they're eating, bathing in the same lot.
Preeti, as a Hindu upper caste, I really fail to understand that how one kind of understanding of Hinduism can be given, can be made the mainstay of Hinduism. There are the six schools of philosophy in India. If there is a Sankhya, there is a yoga, there is a Upanishad, there is a n number of other things. There is a Charvak. So I'm only saying is that why BJP is pushing down everybody's throat that this is Hinduism, we have to follow. If we do not follow, if a Dalit...
Rajat Sethi, the problem is not with the language. The problem is accepting the set tenets of what Hinduism really stands for, and it comes from the BJP. Why should one follow it? The opposition has a point.
Don't follow who is asking you to. There is no script that you need to follow. And above all, Preeti ji, I'm surprised that you didn't call out Ashutosh ji when he made this absolutely bizarre argument of bringing a caste. I'm still laughing at the sheer mention that so-and-so leader has criticized and an OBC has criticized, therefore his criticism is not valid. I mean, gosh, you have to be so twisted in your logic in order to make this also a caste issue. This way, President Murmu has actually, come out and appreciated the conduct of Kumbh. Are you trying to go against the Dalit woman who's occupying the biggest constitutional position in our country? See, keep this nonsensical dissection or intersectionality of caste in every single thing. Okay? Please try and analyze. Don't do analysis just for the heck of analysis. This is the most disservice that you do to the core cause of caste and caste-related discrimination. But no point, even if I point it out, I'm sure this nonsense of caste agenda being thrusted on every single issue will carry on. Because that is how they have been serving their politics all throughout. Create divisions when there is none.
Preeti,
All political party in the opposition class, when they are coming out and criticizing,
I will come back to you, sir. Allow him to finish.
They are criticizing it from their political lenses, not from their past lenses.
Okay. Rajat, he wants to come in for a rebuttal. I'll give him 20 seconds and I'll come back to you and I'll go to our political guests after that.
Deliberate caste-based politics being thrusted on every single issue
Ashutosh.
by jumpans. That is the only one.
Okay, allow him to come in 20 seconds, sir. Then I'll give
the
Rajat
social
20.
lumpans.
I'll request Rajat Sethi to read Baba Saheb Ambedkar's book called Annihilation of Caste and his pratigya. And I'll request
You are not
him
Baba
to
Saheb
read
Ambedkar.
Sir, I'll come back to you. Rajat, I will come back to you. Allow him to make his point. No point.
I'll request Rajat Sethi and the BJP leaders from Hedgewar to Bhagwat to read Satyarth Prakash, what Dayanand Saraswati has said about Ram and Krishna. I want them to read that so that it could enlighten their understanding of Hinduism. ये कहते हैं कुएं के मेढक वाली बात नहीं चलेगी. Hinduism is a Virat philosophy. It doesn't confine to one self. So I'm only saying is when Mallikarjun Kharge is saying something, it is not Mallikarjun Kharge is saying. He representing a whole lot of Dalit population.
Okay,
if Lalu
20
Prasad
seconds.
Yadav
Okay, allow me, Ashutosh.
BJP leaders,
Sir, allow me to bring in Rajat Sethi. Rajat Sethi, 20 seconds for a comment. Okay, yes, go ahead, sir. Make your point.
Mallikarjun Kharge, when did Sri Mallikarjun...
Ashutosh, allow him to make a point. Sir, I want to get in everyone.
In this country...
Ashutosh, sir, allow him to make his point. Can I get Rajat Sethi? Rajat Sethi, make your point.
When did Sri Mallikarjun Kharge become the whole sole spokesperson of the entire Dalit community? Can he give me an explanation on that? How did he assume that? How does Akhilesh Yadav become the whole sole representative of all OBCs, which comprise 50% plus population? Does he become the spokesperson of that? Come on, cut this crap. This has to be nipped in the bud because this nonsense of trying to peddle...
I want to bring in Dr. Pooja Tripathi and Charu Pragya once again back into this conversation. Dr. Pooja Tripathi, the larger question in all of this is that maybe the Congress or the opposition is disconnected from what the... Sir, I'll come back to you. Allow the other two to come back. I understand you. I'll come back to you.
Be the spokesperson of Dalits.
Okay, sir, I will come back to you. Allow me to bring in the two other political panelists. Pooja Tripathi, the question is that there is a disconnect somewhere. The opposition doesn't understand the language of the people, the mass of humanity, which is actually going to the Kumbh. Therefore, many would suggest that your top leadership hasn't even gone to take a dip yet. And that again could be construed as anti-Hindu.
I don't understand who is giving certificates of Hinduism. Is the Bharatiya Janata Party, I'll again repeat, is having a copyright on Hinduism? Who are they to give certain certificates to somebody for being a Sanatani or non-Sanatani? They will go on to give a certificate of anti-Sanatani to Vivekananda ji, who said, if a person is starving, give him bread and don't preach him religion. And that's exactly what Mallikarjun Kharge ji said. And that's when we are raising questions on, Charu just said that there have been stampedes world over, but there have never been instances of running away from accountability, saying sab kuch control mein hai, stampede-like situation. Patri badal di jati hai, there's a huge crowd. You cannot blame people for their...
Okay, I'll come back to you, Charu. Allow her. You'll get equal time. You'll get equal time.
Coming out in large numbers, when you actually went on to say that you are prepared for 100 crore crowd. People will ask, even if it's
questions.
one day,
Okay. Charu Pragya, The question is very simple. You cannot whitewash incompetence and hide behind faith. Questions will be asked and answers will be demanded.
Answers have been given, Preeti. It's just that some people are hard of hearing. They do not want to hear what is written on the wall. And the truth is that if you want to criticize the government, go ahead and do so. But it does not allow you in any manner to criticize our faith, call it names, which is what you're sitting here and defending. You're defending words like Mrityu, you're defending words like Faltu. And when it comes down to the narrative of Mallikarjun Kharge, why did he not offer this advice to other Congress leaders who were immensely happy to go to the Kumbh? Also to tell him, if he was talking about economics in terms of roti, the Kumbh has generated a revenue of 3 lakh crore for Uttar Pradesh government. If that is not speaking to you, then something is inherently and intrinsically wrong with you. Your outlook towards Hinduism and Sanatan is messed up.
All
because
right.
from you and your
Ashutosh and Rajat wanted 10 seconds each. Allow me to give them that and I'll come back to you. Ashutosh, 10 seconds, sir. Rajat, 10 seconds.
I take strong offense of what BJP spokesperson has said. I cannot allow you to criticize my faith. This is my faith. My Upanishad, my Veda allows me to criticize my faith. Kabir, he said, "Arey main to Ganga chhod ke main to ja raha hu Gahmar mein, Maghar ja raha hu. Kathauti mein Ganga to man changa."
And if your brand of politics,
you have no understanding of Hinduism.
What is this?
You cannot,
Sir, 10 seconds, Rajat Sethi. Allow me, sir, 10 seconds.
You
That's
will
all the time.
attack Hinduism. Do you have the courage to do that to any other religion?
Read Hinduism first.
Do that to any other religion.
Can I just get Rajat Sethi? Rajat Sethi, 10 seconds. Go ahead, sir, make your point. Start making your point. We'll get you on it.
Last point. The only thing that I want to say is that no single person in our country, be it Ashutosh Gupta ji or Shri Mallikarjun Kharge ji, can actually be the spokesperson of the entire community. Every community has a way of voicing what they feel or what they don't. So don't talk on behalf of the whole community. That is wrong, and don't bring caste angle at all.
All right. Okay, allow me to end this debate. Clearly, it's been very, very emotive. We leave it for our viewers to decide on where they stand on this divide. The opposition, criticism, constructive or cynical, whichever one our viewers pick, which side. All right, but we're going to leave you. We're going to go into a quick break, but we'll also leave you with visuals of what also happened at the Kumbh. On a side note, today you had Akshay Kumar as well as Katrina Kaif, who took the holy dip at the Mahakumbh. Leave you with these two visuals. We are back with our second debate on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Shift focus from Uttar Pradesh to Delhi.